Hello, hello, everyone. Wanted to thank you for being here tonight with us on continuation number 6 of our lifestyle part. And tonight is on stress, pollution, and hangovers. So I am going to give it a minute just for, as usual, you know the drill. We're going to give it a couple minutes for people to come in to the webinar. In the meantime, we'd love to know where everyone is from. So if you go into the chat and put in where you're from, that would be awesome. We always like seeing if there's international people here. But I'm going to go ahead and close my camera or turn my camera off for just a second, and then I'll get right back with you. Okay, so let's look in the chat here. Let's see who we have. We have Honolulu, Hawaii. That's awesome. Give me 1 second. I'm going to make my screen here larger. Let's see here. Okay, I don't think we've got Melody from Palm Beach. Welcome, welcome. Australia, we've got Ron from South Australia. That's awesome. Welcome, welcome. All right, so today we have a treat because a lot of the times we've been talking about the fact that we've been looking at studies that are very specific, studies that have to do with disease models. Today, we're going to be talking about stress, pollution, and hangovers. And that's normal stuff, right? Every day is full of stress. Every day is full of pollution. Hopefully, every day is not full of hangovers. But, you know, I'm sure many people on this call have maybe had a hangover. I've never had one, but I'm sure that people have. So I'm excited about tonight. I'm excited about, getting the, having this information for you where you might be able to use this information and share with others. So we will get started here in just a minute. We'll give it a couple minutes, but I'm going to go back and chat if there's anyone else that's from somewhere in international. So we'll see it. I don't see it yet, and then we'll get started in the webinar here in just a minute. So excited for you being with us. And as always, this is recorded and it will be available later for people who aren't here. Maybe there's a family event or maybe there's something going on, but we definitely want to accommodate as many people as we can. So very, very exciting. Again, welcome everyone here. As you know, the format is typically 1 hour of going through the content that we have available, and then there's going to be a live question and answer. So that's how we roll, so to speak. That's how we do it. So I'll and you can be putting questions in the Q&A section. Penny McComber, who is one of our incredible staff with Echo, will be answering some of those questions. And when I get into the question and answer portion after the presentation is over, she will have answered some of your questions that are more appropriate for her to answer. And then I'll be answering the ones that I can answer. So just wanted you all to know. So Yeah, so there you have it. I'm going to go ahead and get started with our presentation. So we always start with an FDA disclaimer, just saying this presentation is for your education. This is not to diagnose clearly. This is not to treat your condition. We are not your doctor. We are not your medical professional. I am not. And so nothing replaces going to your doctor, your physician, and getting medical advice, competent medical advice that you can get for your particular condition. During this presentation, I will be sharing knowledge. I will be sharing studies that you might, be able to resonate with. You might say, "Oh my gosh, I have that." And so this is very good from an education perspective. There's no such thing as a guarantee that even though we share amazing studies, there is no guarantee that you will be able to have the same exact result. That's the thing that we want to make sure you understand. So that is, that's what I would say, is that there's really no way for you to have that guarantee. But with there being 1,500 studies, 200 disease models, the chances of hydrogen and hydrogen water helping you are very high. And so I just want you all to know that I have complete confidence from 20 years of being in this that many disease models can be helped. And naturally, the body would make hydrogen. And so we shouldn't even have this many diseases going on in our world. So please understand that that is the feeling that we have. And this is what I want you to understand. But we are not making medical claims here, and we're not giving you any kind of a guarantee. So here's a little bit of information about you. I assume a lot of you know who I am, but if you don't, I'm Dr. Paul, and I am a husband of 31 years. I have a son that's 22. I'm a doctor of naturopathy. I do not do patient care, and I don't have any kind of a practice or do medicine as a career. I create products that help people live a more fulfilling life and accomplish their divine potential, which is what I'm looking to do. I am passionate about preventing disease models. I have been co-author in books. I have been in documentaries. I've been on television in multiple countries. So that's who I am. Our entire lifestyle series is all about nutrition, exercise, lifestyle, sleep, vitamins, and supplements. And of course, all of that, you need to be hydrated. And so our part of this is giving you the best water you can possibly put in your body. That's what our part of this process is. And hopefully you are learning and understanding how Echo Water is and should be a part of your everyday life. So 20th century, we're in the 20th century, right? And here we are with pollution, pesticides, and microplastics, UV rays and blue light everywhere from LED lights. We have jet lag, sleep deprivation, because there are so many shiny objects in life. There are social media, there are phones, there are things we can get into our comfy, cozy bed, and we can have a screen, right? We can have a screen that we can be watching funny and hilarious reels. We can look at political information. We can look at everything, and we can just sit there in the comforts of our bed and spend an hour or so pretty easily watching these screens. And what we should be doing is sleeping, but the reality is we have distractions. We have plenty of things that can distract our mind. So we also have processed foods, a sedentary lifestyle. What I mean by that is people aren't walking as much as they should. People aren't going outside and doing something in a garden or exercising. And I'm not even saying that you need to quote unquote exercise. Just move. Do some kind of what we call fun, sweaty activities. Walk around the block and do things like this. Dance a little bit. Have some fun. Our bodies were designed to move, not to be sedentary. Also, there are unhealthy habits like smoking, drinking. These are the kind of things that are considered unhealthy. Now, if every once in a while you have a glass of wine and that seems to be your lifestyle, I think it's okay with a nice dinner if that's what you do. I don't consume any alcohol in my life. That's just my personal choice. I'm not expecting everyone to do the same thing. But me, this is what I do. I have plenty of happiness. I'm not looking to escape from life. I have so much joy and happiness, and I choose other types of things. I do virgin drinks. Like I love a virgin Moscow Mule. I love mojitos, right? I love all these kind of things. I even have in my fridge downstairs these non-alcohol beers that are zero point 0. And sometimes I want to watch a good game and have some pizza, and I do that. So you can live life however you want. It's definitely on your terms. But some of these habits that can be harmful to our bodies, we don't have to participate in. Definitely, I don't smoke. And so anyways, I hope that helps. But trust me, all these things are a part of our daily life. And if we're not healthy, they can take a toll on our health. So here we are with hydrogen 101, 63% of our body should be hydrogen. Now, as you've heard me say many times, the hydrogen in our body that makes up 63% is typically bound to proteins, carbohydrates, water in our body. So not all hydrogen in our body is available, and definitely not in gas form. So please understand that this is the issue. We need hydrogen gas, H2 gas. And normally we would make that in our intestinal tract, but because 90+% of the population have gut dysfunction, we don't have plentiful hydrogen. And so because of that, we are not necessarily making hydrogen in our gut. So we don't have hydrogen to make stomach acid. We don't have hydrogen to have proper fermentation in our gut or processing or digestion in our gut. And so we end up with oxidative stress, inflammation, autoimmune issues, other things that happen because we don't have a gut that's functioning. So that's what we want to teach you today. We want to teach you how you can change this and how we can have a better life. So what is hydrogen water? Hydrogen water is water, H2O, with H2 gas dissolved in it. Now that does not change the pH of the water. Even though pH stands for potential hydrogen, H2 gas is neutral. It's not going to affect the pH of the water. It's just going to change the electrical potential, what we consider the ORP, or the oxidation reduction potential, but it's not going to change the pH of the water. So the pH of the water doesn't really matter much to our body chemistry and our body pH itself. And we can talk about that on another one. But the reality is the pH of water is going to be buffered by stomach acid almost immediately. It does not change our body pH at all. In fact, when people are talking about blood pH, one more breath per minute would have more to do with affecting your blood pH than would be something that you consumed or you drank. Because blood pH has to do with carbonic acid, and that we do through our breathing process. So something you're going to drink is not going to affect. And it's a really good thing because trust me, if drinking a higher pH water somehow benefited you, then drinking one soda that's a 1.5 to 2 pH or drinking lemon water would put you into shock. And so please understand, there is no truth to the pH of a liquid you're drinking is going to somehow affect your body pH. Not going to happen. It is the minerals that are in your diet that the body utilizes to change the pH in organs. And then from a blood pH perspective, our blood can only be 7.35 to 7.45. It's a very narrow range. If we don't have it in that range, we can go into shock. So please understand, your blood pH has nothing to do with what you're drinking and eating. at all. It's your breath. It's natural. So, what is hydrogen water? Hydrogen water is water with hydrogen gas. That's all. Nothing to do with pH, nothing to do with anything else. That's what hydrogen water is. And there are currently 1,500 studies, 150 years of global research, and 40 plus proven benefits. So, how do you make hydrogen water? It's really simple. You get hydrogen gas into water. I mean, I'm oversimplifying, but that's truly what you would do. You would take typical H2O, hopefully it's filtered, reverse osmosis, distilled water, but contaminant free would be ideal. And then you add hydrogen gas. Now, we do that in our devices that we create. We do that through an electrolysis process called a proton exchange membrane electrolysis. But you could also bubble in hydrogen gas. And if you dissolved it, then you would have hydrogen water. So that's what you do. The 3 steps are having water, and then electrolysis, that's a proton exchange membrane type electrolysis, and then you have hydrogen water. So let's talk about the benefits of hydrogen. First of all, we need to understand that hydrogen can affect your gut. Now, we should be producing hydrogen in our gut. That is clearly one of the things that our gut should be doing, is producing hydrogen gas. We call it flatulence, but hydrogen should be produced in the gut. And because of gut damage from overuse of antibiotics or pesticides or heavy metals or stress or whatever, that is definitely something that we deal with on a daily basis. 90+% of the population have a dysfunctioning gut. Therefore, we don't digest food properly. We don't have an immune function that's proper. We don't have antioxidant pathways that are correct. So this first study that I'm sharing with you is talking about how the water going through our devices has the property to change your gut. That's really what this study is showing. And the first thing it's talking about is 96 to 99% of residential microflora or good bacteria in your gut should be anaerobic microflora. So anaerobic bacteria, which is 96 to 99% of the bacteria that should be in our gut, needs a negative electrical potential in the gut. That is what this study is sharing. And so with the water coming out of our devices at a negative 400 to a negative 600 millivolts of electrical potential, that is the perfect water to restore gut function, to help your gut repair itself back to where it should be. So that's what this first study is talking about. And over on the left, you can see that hydrogen is a selective antioxidant. Well, what does that mean? It only reacts with the bad radicals, not the good radicals in the body. Also, it is preventative of disease. It reduces inflammation, it repairs gut, and it helps recovery times for athletes. So let's talk about the first study that we have, and this is titled Alleviation of the Chronic Stress Response Attributed to Antioxidant and Anti-Inflammatory Effects of Electrolyzed Reduced Hydrogen Water. So this was a study that was around biomolecules to deteriorate cellular and tissue function. If we go down to the bottom, what is this saying? They examined whether electrolyzed hydrogen water enriched with molecular hydrogen, that's H2 gas, and reactive hydrogen storing platinum nanoparticles dissolved from an electrode could alleviate oxidative stress and inflammation induced by continuous stress challenges. Now, this was 5 days. They induced stress in people. And so what we see is hydrogen water in this study helped the body recover from chronic stress by lowering stress-related biological markers, and this helped people feel calmer and more balanced over time. It also increased harmful molecules. Stress increases harmful molecules in the body called free radicals. Hydrogen in the water acts like a natural antioxidant to reduce or neutralize these free radicals, protecting cells from damage. Now, chronic stress also leads to ongoing inflammation. And what we call chronic inflammation is when we get diseases. chronic inflammation and oxidative stress. The combination of those two things is where disease comes from. And so this study showed that hydrogen water helped reduce inflammation, supporting overall wellness. Now, nervous system, when we have chronic stress, we have a sympathetic nervous system. And what you sometimes call fight or flight. People get in what's called a fight or flight mode. In other words, you want to run away from your problems. We all feel that some ways. I know there are days where I've wanted to run away from problems. Trust me. I've had that feeling. I know you have too. Participants in this study had better regulation of fight or flight. And so this is a response that comes to protect yourself. But this means that hydrogen helped people relax. And the other part of the study showed that it was safe to use hydrogen water for everyone every day. So hopefully that helps us understand. So this next study, consumption of molecular hydrogen prevents the stress-induced impairment of hippocampus-dependent learning tasks during chronic physical restraint in mice. Now, this study found that drinking water containing molecular hydrogen protected the brain from the negative effects of long-term stress. Mice that drank hydrogen water were able to learn and remember better than stressed out mice. When the animals and humans experience ongoing stress, it can damage the hippocampus, that part of the brain that handles memory and learning. In this study, hydrogen helped prevent that damage. So you won't have stress-related learning challenges. And this could be great for kids as well. If you have children, this would be the best thing they could drink when taking tests, right? That's usually stressful for kids. Also, hydrogen molecules are very small and can reach deep inside our cells and help neutralize harmful molecules called free radicals that build up under stress and inflammation, protecting brain cells. Now, hydrogen water didn't just reduce the stress in this study. It under that same physical stress, the ones that drank hydrogen water performed almost like normal mice with their learning, showing that hydrogen's brain protective effect. So, in other words, those that drank the water, it was like no stress was going on at all. The brain was balanced, the brain was functioning. And so this suggests that brain health is supported by hydrogen water. So hopefully this is helping you understand. Now, this next study, which is the effects of hydrogen-rich water on growth, redox, homeostasis, and hormonal, histological, and immune systems that rats exposed to high cage density stress. So in other words, these mice didn't want to be in a cage. They were in a cage and they were highly, highly stressed out. Now, these rats that were kept in crowded cages, stressful conditions, they were given hydrogen-rich water, were healthier and less affected by stress compared to those that drink normal water. Living in stressful conditions made the rats grow more slowly and weakened their immune systems and disrupted their hormones. Hydrogen water helped prevent many of those negative effects. Also, hydrogen helped maintain redox balance, meaning it reduced harmful oxidative stress and supported the body's natural ability to stay in balance and repair itself. Rats that drank hydrogen water had better immune function and more stable stress hormones, suggesting that the body was helped to manage stress without overreacting. So the study shows that hydrogen didn't make small changes. It can protect multiple systems in the body, growth, immunity, and hormones from the harmful effect of long-term stress. So many of you might be in a job that is harmful, maybe a marriage that's harmful and stressful. Drinking hydrogen water can help you with these normal everyday stresses, money stresses, relationship stresses, marriage, job related, whatever it is, children. I don't want to, that's a tough one too sometimes. So please know this can help you. Okay. So this next one, which is the effects of hydrogen water on depressive-like behavior in mice. Now, all of us at some point feel depressed. We feel depressive-like behavior. And and for most of us, it goes away. We have a happy news come to us, or we have something that happens that shifts our energy. Well, some people don't. And so what they're wanting to study is what's called major depressive disorder, MDD. And this has to do with neuroinflammation and has to do with oxidative stress in the body. And so, what do we learn from this study? When these mice drank hydrogen water, they were able to not have the same depressive mood. In other words, hydrogen water was able to lift their mood. Just like humans, chronic stress in mice can lower key brain chemicals that regulate mood. Hydrogen water helped restore a healthier balance of these brain chemicals. Hydrogen acts as a gentle antioxidant and helps reduce the buildup of harmful molecules, free radicals that can damage brain cells. Also, this study found that hydrogen-rich water protected parts of the brain that were linked to emotion and motivation, helping them function more readily and more favorably. Also, hydrogen water could naturally support emotional well-being in this study, and it seems that it's a natural, safe option for increasing mood and not having them be in a depressive type behavior. Now, in this one, it was molecular hydrogen increases resilience to stress. So again, for those of you that are experiencing stress and you don't see a way out because you're like, I can't just quit my job. I've got kids. I have to pay the bills. I have to do these things. Hydrogen water can help you manage this more easily. So what did this say? Mice that inhaled or drank molecular hydrogen were calmer and coped better under stressful conditions compared to normal mice, showing that hydrogen can enhance or increase stress resilience. Instead of being overwhelmed by stress, hydrogen-treated mice bounced back more readily and quickly and showed fewer signs of anxiety and fatigue. Hydrogen also reduced harmful inflammation and oxidative stress in the brain, the kind of internal wear and tear that can make people feel anxious, tired, and mentally fogged. The study found that hydrogen supported normal levels of important brain chemicals like serotonin and dopamine, which play key roles in how we feel and respond to challenges. Hydrogen may naturally strengthen emotional balance. So this was another big one. While this research was done in mice, it suggests that molecular hydrogen could help people feel calmer, think more clearly, and stay emotionally ready when they have stressful situations in everyday life. So this next study, protective effect on hydrogen on the lung of sanitation workers exposed to haze. So what we're seeing here is that 96 sanitation workers living in China, effectively, in 2016 were in this control group. And what we learn in here is that they were able to be bettered. So what are the results? The level in the treatment group were lower. So what hydrogen did was lower the results of the toxins in the group that had to do with sulfur, had to do with other things that they were breathing in, basically. And SOD activity in their body was consistently lower in the treatment group. So there's also things like interleukin-2 that were affected here. But the conclusion is inhalation of hydrogen gas could alleviate airway inflammation and oxidative stress of sanitation workers exposed to air pollution. There were even a significant inhibitory effect on the level of systemic inflammatory response. Importantly, my poor tongue. Importantly, inhalation of hydrogen could improve respiratory symptoms such as a persistent cough. Now, how will this apply to us? Well, we're walking around in pollution all the time. We're walking around and we're breathing in things all the time. If we are drinking hydrogen water or breathing in hydrogen water through inhalation, this will help our lungs be more resilient, and it can help us be able to resist the results of the pollution. And so that would, I would say, would be really, really important for us to understand. So this next study is hydrogen-rich pure water prevents cigarette smoke-induced pulmonary emphysema. This is obviously, smoking is not as popular as it used to be. And if you are a smoker, you definitely don't want emphysema. And so this is basically talking about COPD, and predominantly cigarette smoke triggered disease with features in chronic system inflammation. Now, we know that hydrogen gas can reduce hydroxyl radical accumulation with no known side effects, showing potential applications in managing oxidative stress, inflammation, apoptosis, and lipid metabolism. We know this already. But what happens with COPD individuals? So at the end of this study, what did this show us? Treatment with H2-rich water decreased the levels of oxidative DNA damage markers. So that was a good thing. And these results demonstrated that hydrogen-rich water attenuated CS-induced emphysema and reduced CS-induced oxidative DNA damage and premature cell senescence, okay, in the lungs. Our study suggests that administration of molecular hydrogen may have a novel preventative and therapeutic strategy for COPD. So for those that are dealing with COPD, hydrogen water could be, and hydrogen inhalation could be, a novel treatment. This is talking about hydrogen-rich saline reduces delayed neurologic in experimental carbon monoxide toxicity. And so, you know, some people are exposed to carbon monoxide. And in this particular situation, hydrogen-rich saline treatment significantly reduced the level of degraded myelin basic protein, decreased the expression of ionized calcium binding adapter molecule, and a number of other things. Now, in the conclusion, this observation demonstrated that hydrogen-rich saline peritoneal injection. So when you're using hydrogen saline, this is not something you're going to breathe in. This is an injection into your vessels and veins, effectively. When you're using saline solution, you can inject that into the blood, and it's a safe thing to do. And so adding hydrogen gas into that is a way that they would inject saline. And so here you're seeing, this is for carbon monoxide poisoning with delayed neurologic sequela. So the therapeutic effects of hydrogen-rich saline may be related to antioxidant and anti-inflammatory action. So there were great benefits with carbon monoxide poisoning. So we've got a lot of studies tonight. We still have 4 more. And so this next one is therapeutic effects of hydrogen gas inhalation on neurotoxicity and cognitive impairment. So this is another mice study, and the results demonstrated that inhalation, 2% hydrogen gas, exhibited memory enhancing activity and decreased these different Alzheimer's disease and cognitive dysfunction effectively. That's what we're talking about here, is Alzheimer's disease and cognitive function. Hydrogen may be a candidate for repairing neurodegenerative disease with cognitive dysfunction. So that's effectively, and we've talked about this last week in the brain part. We talked about Parkinson's, we talked about Alzheimer's. And so please understand, this is another study showing that if there are neuro issues, you can be helped with Alzheimer's disease. This next study has to do with an insecticide, CPF, what's called an organophosphate, widely used in agriculture and has some adverse reactions in the body. Clearly, most pesticides do. Chronic exposure to CPF induces oxidative stress and elicits harmful effects with blood and other issues. Molecular hydrogen has been identified as a novel antioxidant that can scavenge hydroxyl radicals. So, what's the conclusion? Hydrogen-rich water intake can protect rats from CPF-induced hepatotoxicity, and the oxidative stress signaling and the mitochondrial pathway may be involved in the protection of molecular hydrogen. So again, for those that are exposed to insecticides and different things, hopefully you're not exposed to them. It can be very dangerous. Hydrogen can help. Here is protective effects of saturated hydrogen saline against blue light induced retinal damage. So this is people that are having damage of their retina through blue light. And so this was simply looking, and it's all due to oxidative stress in the retina. And so in this, it does show that saturated hydrogen saline, again, this would be injected, or it could have been, it could be put on the eyes without a problem. But they're showing it could protect the retina from light-induced damage by attenuating oxidative stress. So again, everything you're always going to see is based on oxidative stress reduction having to do with hydrogen. That's how hydrogen acts in the body, is through reducing oxidative stress. Our final study is hydrogen-rich saline protecting against UVB radiation injury in rats. Now, what's UVB? That's the UVB are good. It can be ultraviolet. It's a major component of UV radiation, which induces the production of reactive oxygen species, and it can be what's called photo damage. So hydrogen gas reduces ROS and alleviates inflammation. So they were trying to look at what happens with UVB radiation, and they irradiated female mice, never a good thing, but they did it. And they wanted to see what happens to the tumor necrosis factor alpha, interleukins 1 alpha, 1 beta. That's what they wanted to look at. So hydrogen-rich saline had a protective effect by altering the levels of these markers and relieved morphological skin injury. Hydrogen-rich saline protected against UVB radiation injury, possibly by reducing inflammation and oxidative stress. Again, you're always going to have it come to oxidative stress and inflammation. So, what is the easiest way to get Echo water and to have all these wonderful benefits? It is the Echo flask. Clearly, right here, I always have mine with me. And of course, you know how easy it is to use this. You can just start it right there, and you see it started a 10-minute cycle, and you can see all those bubbles coming up. Tons and tons of bubbles coming up. And in the Echo flask, unlike all the scam bottles in the world, in the bottom, you can kind of see right there that the oxygen, ozone, chlorine is all going out, and just hydrogen gas is going into the bottle. So please understand that we are building up 64 PSI in here. You can hear it. You can hear it when you use the pressure relief on the top. Now, even if you don't have that kind of pressure relief, you are getting hydrogen. But what I would tell you, and this is just a nice little thing, a week or so ago, I didn't have quite the same pressure when I released it. So what did I do? I filled this up with vinegar and water mixture, and then I ran the self-cleaning cycle. So with the combination of vinegar and water, I had the bottle clean itself. And ever since I did that, it's now producing more hydrogen, and it is building up more pressure. So even though my electrodes did not have calcium buildup, because I use reverse osmosis water, I have an Echo RO system in my home, still, when I had the bottle clean itself and I did a combination of vinegar and water diluted 50-50, I am producing more hydrogen in my bottle. And so I would always recommend, from time to time, go ahead and put a mixture of vinegar and water and then run a cleaning cycle so that you can produce more hydrogen with the proton exchange membrane. Now, the Echo Flask is the world's most advanced hydrogen water bottle that is portable. Now, what do you have? You have a 12-ounce capacity bottle. We have 8 parts per million, 16 times what's considered therapeutic. It will not put chlorine in your bottle like all the scam products out there. And let me tell you something, and you can take this to the bank. 99% of the products being sold as hydrogen water bottles are scam products. What do I mean by scam products? They're not producing hydrogen. And if they are producing some hydrogen, you're also producing chlorine. Our system, chlorine is coming out the bottom. So you don't have any chlorine. How do you know if your bottle's making chlorine? Right here. This is a hydrogen reagent. I carry this with me. When I'm at trade show booths, oh, my camera's going a little crazy. When I'm at trade show booths, I can test people's water and I can show them that there is chlorine in their water. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get my camera back here. There you go. There we go. Okay, so one thing to understand, most of the bottles on the market, especially the ones that are inexpensive, are traditional electrolysis. This is not traditional electrolysis. This is proton exchange membrane electrolysis. And so keep in mind that you are never going to have chlorine in your water from our bottle or from the flask. We don't produce chlorine, but the other bottles do on the market. So it's really important that you are scrutinizing with what hydrogen devices you have, and the water that you put in your body. You don't want chlorine, you don't want hypochlorous acid, you don't want ozone, you don't want these things. So keep in mind, this has a 5-year warranty. This is going to last you a minimum of 5 years. You can use this 3 times, 6 times a day for 5 years, no problem. You're not going to have a reduction of hydrogen. There are products on the market, other bottles, that will reduce their hydrogen production. They don't even many times start with much hydrogen production, but they definitely over time will. And many of you know, on one of Joe Rogan's podcasts, there was an individual talking about this, but he wasn't talking about our bottle. He was talking about competitors' bottles because they definitely lower in their performance. Ours does not. The Echo brand does not reduce in 5 years, for example. That's why you have a 5-year warranty on this bottle. You know you can have it for 5 years and it will serve you well. Now, we do have certifications. We have a charging port, USB-C. We have the warranty that's powerful. All of these things you have with the flask. So what are we providing you in hydrogen? Right here is third-party validation, validated by H2 Analytics in a 10-minute cycle, 6.07 parts per million, and in a 20-minute cycle, 8.25 parts per million. Now you can see over on the side the SGS, that stands for Silver State Laboratories. They tested to make sure that nothing was being introduced into the water from our bottle other than hydrogen. And so what they found is nothing but hydrogen is going in them. No heavy metals, no pesticides, and nothing else going into the water you're drinking. So you can rest assured that Echo is completely clean and healthy water that you will be putting in your body. What are people saying about Echo water? It improves their sleep. It lowers their joint pain. It lowers their inflammation. It increases their immune function, improves energy and clarity, better digestion. People that are gluten and dairy intolerant don't have to be that way. Let's get your gut fixed so you can eat whatever you want to eat. Reduce fatigue, reduce recovery times. It doesn't say it here, but people that have anxiety and depression many times can be helped to have less anxiety and less depression. Okay. Now, you have 2 people up here. Jan, who is saying, I've noticed many improvements when drinking hydrogen water. A huge one is no more brain fog. I went from it being awful to zero. I also noticed a significant difference with my gut health, especially. I had a lot of issues I no longer struggle with at all. I had more energy to mix as well. This really did change my life, and I would not be without it now. That's pretty awesome. The next person, Julie, says, to be honest, after reading reviews, I was hopeful but a little suspicious of all the good things I was reading. Well, who wouldn't be, right? It sounds too good to be true. Just no way. Well, I've had my bottle for 8 days. The energy came day one. Sleep improved day one. Fast forward to day 8, reduced joint pain and mental clarity I can't even describe. Sold! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation point. So keep in mind, this is just 2 people. Can you imagine the millions of people that we help worldwide at this point? Now, when you are purchasing your flask or others, please understand we created this for 2 reasons: for skeptical people and for people that travel on planes, trains, automobiles, or go to work every day and want to have hydrogen water. Please know that once you have this, we also have whole house filtration. We also have machines that make a 1/4 gallon a minute. Once you experience your benefits, you can get other devices that we make for larger quantities of water, especially if you have a family and children. You may not want to wait 40 minutes to get water for your whole family. But start here. This is the perfect place to start to understand how you're going to feel, the benefits you're going to experience, and then you can graduate to another device that's going to give you more water faster. When you're checking out, make sure and get the exclusive ebook because you will learn more about the benefits. Now, here is your coupon code. When you are in the shopping cart at echowater.com, you can use Echo Elite as your coupon code. Now, if you ever have an issue, we've got 2 incredible individuals. Becca Kevern, who is the customer service director, and we have an incredible staff. Our customer service staff is incredible. The other individual is Trace Waterland. He's our tech support. He is there to make sure that you have support when you need it. And the best place to go, believe it or not, is not Instagram and is not Facebook to ask for help. Go to your web domain, whether that's Google or whatever it is, type in support.echowater.com and we will help you there. Now, I'm going to leave this on the screen and I'm going to get to answering questions. So let's get to the question and answer area. All right. And before I do that, I do see one question in the chat. Please don't put your questions in the chat. But Carla says, I just received my flask. Does it matter what type of cup I pour my water into after it's finished the cycle? I'm ready to drink. No, it technically doesn't matter. I'm always going to recommend glass. I like glass. That's what I pour the water. And what she's saying is once I process here, and remember, press the top to release the pressure and then take the lid off. You can drink from here or you can pour it into a glass. That's what this sweet lady Carla is saying. And you can use plastic, you can use glass, you can use paper cup, whatever you want to use. I like glass, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. The only thing I wouldn't recommend is copper because hydrogen will react with copper. All right. So let's go to, and let me find some questions that I can answer. Good job, Penny. She's answering all these questions. I love it. Someone says, if one has bad gut health, will hydrogen water be beneficial? Yes. Hydrogen water will help your gut fix. It'll actually do it in 2 weeks. If you get water and you're drinking, let's say 3 to 6 of these a day, within 2 weeks, you should see a significant difference or a complete change where you could be eating whatever foods you want without having inflammation. So now the only issues I would go over where you may want to start slow is if you have hydrogen-based SIBO. SIBO stands for small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. Now, what that means is you have the right bacteria too far north or in the small intestine. And because those bacteria can be methane seeking or hydrogen, what we call hydrogen-based SIBO or methane-based SIBO. If it's methane-based SIBO, you can drink all the hydrogen water you want, won't matter. If it's hydrogen-based SIBO, if you pound or you drink a lot of hydrogen water, you're going to have inflammation in your small intestine and it will not be comfortable. Okay, you will have pain in your small intestine. You can use essential oils to get rid of SIBO, or you can use antibiotics. But if you drink smaller amounts of the hydrogen water to begin with, your gut will fix itself. But I would still work to find a protocol to get rid of your SIBO. Now, what is one thing I would never do that can cause SIBO? If you're doing a water fast or a dry fast, if you break your fast with fermented foods, you can cause SIBO. So don't do that. Now, when it comes to H. pylori, that's another thing you could potentially have, that if you drink a lot of hydrogen water, hydrogen can be an energy source for H. pylori. So that's the only other thing. Everything else, drink. The hydrogen water is going to help your gut. It's going to help all the issues that you have because most all of them are oxidative stress and inflammation. Okay. Let's go down. I'm going to continue. Okay. Aside from cortisol, what about SED rate and CRP? Curious what it would show. So we went over a study with CRP. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, but it definitely will help. So cortisol, of course, is going to reduce your stress, and so you're going to have less cortisol, which is wonderful. And so hopefully that helps you. But yeah. Let's see here. What is FOS and XOS? I think I know inulin, but what is that? So those are different sugar replacements effectively. And so, I don't know what your question is about. Inulin is fiber, basically. And so, yeah. And if you're talking about, are you talking about in the prebiotic drink, or I don't know. Anyways, it's a transcription factor and it's a protein, but maybe Melody asked that question as it relates to hydrogen. Would love to be able to answer that if you have more specific. There's an FOS gene, but if you're talking about a prebiotic fiber, I assume that's what you're talking about. Are you talking about what's in the hydrogen prebiotic drink mix? Do me a favor and tell me if that's what you're looking to understand. And if so, those are fibers that help. But I can answer them. Just ask your question again and be a little more specific if you could. Mike is saying, I urinate more frequently when drinking hydrogen water. That's kind of a good thing. You're getting contaminants out of your system. Hydrogen water will reduce inflammation in your kidneys, your pancreatic system in general, and you should be able to get things out of your body and detoxify. That should stabilize a little bit over time once you get the toxins out of your body. Okay, let's continue going through. Oh, how much vinegar to use? Thank you. Penny answered that, but you can just mix it 50-50, 1/3, 2/3, it depends on what you want to do. May I still use my Echo Plus without? Yeah. The Echo Go Plus is what I assume you're talking about. This is for Sandy. Absolutely. It's a great bottle. We sold 100,000 of them or so. Love the bottle. And I used to use it every day. Of course, I use the flask now because it's even better than the Echo Go Plus. But if I didn't own Echo and wasn't able to get flasks, I may just keep the Echo Go Plus until it didn't work anymore, and then I would definitely upgrade. Or if you just want the best of the best, get the Flask, and it is better. It does have an app, and it is drop resistant. Okay, Ed says, please speak your thoughts on the hydrogen tablets I see everywhere online. They claim 12 parts per million, but I think that's just marketing. No third-party tested. I own the Flask and love it. Great question, Ed. Yeah, they say 12 parts per million. I've never seen that. And if they do, they play games with only doing 4 ounces of water, which, come on, it's very little water, and so it wouldn't be that many. It really isn't that much hydrogen. It's kind of a misnomer. I am not a fan of the tablets, and I'll tell you why. They're too expensive. They're extremely expensive. They don't have a good taste to them. I prefer pure water or pure tasting water. I use the Flask. This is so much less expensive. Can you imagine if 2 people in a house wanted to get water just once a day from tablets? You're talking about $3,000 in 5 years, where you could use a $299 Flask for 2 people. Now, why not spend for 2 flasks then and let your amazing wife have one and you yourself have one? You're still going to save so much money, over like 1/5. It only costs you 1/5 the amount. So I'm not a fan of the tablets, but I will say the tablets do produce hydrogen water equivalent to what you have here, but they don't have a great flavor. They taste like magnesium. So if you like water that tastes like something, you can get the Echo prebiotic hydrogen drink mix, which is equivalent to the tablet, same price, but it tastes good. It tastes like crisp apple instead of a gross magnesium taste. So hope you appreciate that. But there is nothing more cost effective than our Flask or one of our devices, one of our machines. I'm telling you, that's always the least expensive way to get hydrogen water. So hope that helps, Ed. It says I'm up for it, but $299 is similar price. You do get what you pay for. I can promise you that. You can get the Echo Go Plus for $249, and you have a 10% discount. So it's only going to be $269 for tonight, or from this webinar. But I will tell you, that it is worth what you pay for it, and you're not going to find anything better in the world. So invest in yourself. You're going to have this bottle, the Flask, for at least 5 years. When you think about $299 divided by 60 months, if you think about what you're paying per month, it's really not a lot of money. I'm going to do the math. What the heck? Let's have fun with this. And let's take into consideration what it would be per day. So let's say 365 times 5 is 1,825 divided by 269. Okay. Let me do that again. Give me a second. I got to memorize. 365 times 5, so 1825. Let's take 269 divided by 1825 is, no, I did the wrong number. 269 divided by 1825 is 0.0003 per day. You're not even a penny per day. So yeah, that's the whole point. When you're talking 1,825 days divided by 299, then you're nothing. Yeah, 16 cents a day. That's what you can do. The math is 16 cents per day. So if I take 0.16 times 1,825 is $292. So it's like 15 cents a day to have a Flask. And if you want a tablet, it's $1 a day minimum. But imagine if you did 3 or 6 of these a day, it's still 15 cents. If you did 3 or 6 tablets a day, it's $3 to $6 a day. You're never going to win this competition. The Flask is always going to be lower cost, and it's going to give you more pure water, and you're not going to have magnesium built up in your system. You're not going to have anything else. So Please understand, for 15 cents a day, you can have the greatest health you've ever had. All right. Someone is asking two questions. Can you take vitamins and other prescription meds with your H2 water? Yes, you can, 100%. Second, how long should you wait after a meal before drinking? I would drink the water half an hour before you're eating because hydrogen is needed for stomach acid. So if you drink the water before your meal, that is really the best way to do the water. So hopefully that answers your question. How come there is a psst sound sometimes and others nothing? Understand it's all about the sealing of the bottle, and it's also how much you fill it up. So there's a number of things that go into it. I would recommend you clean your bottle by doing the vinegar water mixture and do the self-cleaning cycle, and you probably would find an increase in that. Okay. Yes, it's Penny's reply. Red egg to drink the apple powder. See, I don't know what that. Okay, I'm going to pass that. I don't know. Oh, yes. Thank you, Penny. Hydrogen products are approved for FSA and HSA. So any of you that have an HSA that you're putting money into from your work, you can buy with your HSA and FSA money on our website. So that is the best use of your HSA funds. Let me keep going down. Whoa, wasn't aware it has an app. That's a turnoff to me. Can I swap for the older model? I would tell you yes, of course you can if you haven't used the flask yet. But here's what I would tell you. It's not the same as you're thinking with a cell phone or something. The app is simply tracking how much water and how much hydrogen you're getting. You're not getting some huge exposure to Bluetooth. I can promise you that. We've already tested it so many times. I wouldn't be concerned about that. I'm not a person who promotes EMFs, but of course I do have a cell phone. But I would tell you right now, if you have a cell phone, you've got far more exposure than you would ever with the flask. So hope that answers that question. But again, the Echo Go Plus does not have an app, so you can do that. Where is the self-cleaning info on the display? Okay, great question, Mike. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to show you. If you click on your screen and you slide up right there and you click on right there, right down there, it says self-cleaning. Let me show you. So it says clean flask. It's the next one to the power off. And what will happen when you click on that? Okay, if I was to hit clean, it gives you a button right there. And the next button, you would press a smaller play button and it would start cleaning. So that's what I would recommend to do, is clean the flask with the self-clean. And from time to time, put a diluted vinegar water mixture into your flask and it will perform better. Okay. I hope that helps. I am happy to help. How many times a week is minimum to drink the apple powder? That's a great question, Melody. It's as you want. If you want to do it once a day, it's great. The prebiotics are amazing. So remember, prebiotics versus probiotics. Probiotics are simply a Band-Aid. Prebiotics are going to seed your gut with a good prebiotic. So that's going to put the prebiotics into your gut that are going to create the communities and the bacteria. The combination of hydrogen and the 3 prebiotics are incredible for gut restoration. And even if you just drink it for 30 days or 60 days, you're going to have tremendous benefits. But in my opinion, it does not replace the flask. If you want to have great tasting water, it's got an amazing flavor of sour apple or crisp apple, but you're going to be paying for 1 stick pack at a time, and it's a similar cost to the tablets. So it tastes better than the tablets. It has 3 prebiotics that the tablets never do, and it has the similar hydrogen to tablets. So it is an amazing product, but get the flask as well. Okay. So should you drink it with hydrogen water? Should you drink what with hydrogen water? Oh, it makes hydrogen water. So the Echo Hydrogen Prebiotic, it actually creates up to 12 parts per million of hydrogen, and it has 3 prebiotics. So it's all in one. Yeah. Thank you, Ainsley. This person said they're looking forward to the next one, which is eye health. I am excited. I've got some great stories I'll share with you on people that have had eye improvement. And that's great. So Penny is answering about the drink mix, and that's awesome. She says drink 1 stick per day for the prebiotic hydrogen benefits. Plus, it's yummy, and it is dang yummy. I tell you, I have a lot of people that are like, I love the taste of this. Even if it didn't help me, I want it for the taste, but it will help you tremendously. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am so grateful for being on this webinar with you tonight. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your questions. And I am always here to support you. We at Echo are here to support your health journey and feeling better. Thank you so much. I am going to sign off tonight. Please remember your coupon code is Echo Elite. You can use that in the shopping cart when you're in our shopping cart on our website. We appreciate your support. We appreciate your trust. And thank you, Terry. Terry says, thank you, team. Love you all. We love you too. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ainsley. Echo forever. Love that. Woo! Have a great evening or day, wherever you are. And we appreciate you so much.